Please, Mr. Kerr.
Well, it's astonishing for me to be in the position of being held up by the nationalists as a paragon of parliamentary virtue. But I do take my duties as a parliamentarian very seriously, and I also take my responsibilities to all of my colleagues very seriously too. And the attack on the integrity of my colleague, Annie Wells, is unwarranted and totally unfair. And I would add, there have been comments directed to the convener of the Standards Committee this afternoon, which are a parliamentary disgrace. Of course, as someone who played a key role in the public disclosure of Michael Matheson's wrongdoing, and then went on to make serial comments about his guilt, it was right that I should stand down from the committee. But the assault on the integrity of Annie Wells is beyond the pale. It's one of the most despicable things that I have heard in this chamber as long as I've been a member of this Parliament. And the First Minister's conduct last Thursday, defending Michael Matheson, is something I believe he will never live down. What we got from John Swinney was all the fake piousness of nationalism. Party first, always party first. The SNP care only for party. Their own jobs, their own careers, well, there's news. The gravy train is coming to an end for the SNP careerists. And I have to say that the other astonishing thing that has come out of this fiasco is John Swinney's obsession with my social media. He sent 37 pages of my social media posts to the convener of the Standards Committee. He's my most active follower on social media. And it's also become clear that John Swinney would go to any length to defend Michael Matheson. I wonder why. The evidence of the report, prepared by a fair and impartial investigator on behalf of the corporate body, upheld by the members of the corporate body, and the unanimous decision of the Standards Committee, with 2 SNP members on the committee, was that Michael Matheson falsely claimed £11,000. He, and I shall put this politely, deliberately misled the Scottish Parliament, the media, and the people of Falkirk West. He wasn't engaged on parliamentary business in Morocco. The bill was racked up watching football. He didn't try to claim £11,000. He claimed £11,000. He used £11,000 of taxpayers' money for his own personal use. And outside of this chamber, that is called misappropriation. And it was the lowest of low points in this chamber to watch an SNP Cabinet Secretary, Michael Matheson, throw everybody and everything under the bus to save himself. And he was aided and abetted by not one, but 2 SNP First Ministers. Party first, everything else second. And the First Minister chose to scapegoat one of the most conscientious members of this Parliament, my colleague Annie Wells. And John Swinney should be embarrassed, because the reputation of this Parliament is hanging by a thread because of the actions of Michael Matheson and because of the appalling judgment of John Swinney. If we had the appropriate legislation in this place to do as they do at Westminster, Michael Matheson now would be facing the judgment of the people of Falkirk West. But in the absence of that recall, in the absence of the powers of recall, Michael Matheson, if he had a scintilla of integrity left in him, would immediately resign. I worked in business leadership for over 30 years, and I can tell you in no other walk of life would it be acceptable for someone to fraudulently claim expenses and for that person to expect to stay in their employment. They would face instant dismissal. And the people of Scotland know it is only in this Parliament is it possible for someone to do what Michael Matheson did and to feel so entitled, to think that they can sit it out without any prospect of dismissal, and I would add, any thought of a police inquiry, because any casual reading of our newspapers tells story after story of employees who do exactly what Michael Matheson did, who have been subject to criminal proceedings. Presiding Officer, the people of Falkirk West can't have their say, but the members of this Parliament can. And if we have any regard whatsoever for this institution, then we must vote this afternoon to call on Michael Matheson to do the decent thing, to resign immediately and to leave public life.